All right, so we're going to look now at lesson three. Lesson three is all about solving quadratic equations by graphing, and it's what it sounds like. They give you a quadratic equation, they want you to solve it, and remember when you're solving these things, you're solving for your unknown variable, which is usually going to be, x or whatever they have. But they're going to show you how to do that by graphing. All right, and we're gonna learn that first. We're gonna learn how to graph first before we move on to more efficient ways of doing this. So this is kind of the intro to sort of how this looks like, and this will sort of guide you along the next few lessons after this. So we're going to talk about something called number of solutions. So with any quadratic equation, all right, so a quadratic equation, and I didn't write it down when I prepped these slides, so I'm going to write it down right now for you, just so you see this. A quadratic equation is anything, obviously, of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. All right, and then they usually have it like equal to y. The y is usually on the other side. It's equal to y, but in a lot of these, they're going to show it as equal to 0. So in any of these, the big thing I want to show you with this is that this degree right here is 2. So there's this neat little rule you can use, and I'm going to show it to you right down here, is that the most solutions a function can have is equal to the degree of the function. All right, and remember the degree of the function is the highest exponent that's available. So like if you look at these examples I have, you've got 7x minus 12. Well, that can only have one solution because the degree is 1, right? So that would, you would say, okay, that has, one solution. Right, and this one right here, you would look at it and you would say, well, the highest degree is 7. So this has a possibility of 7 solutions. Now, that doesn't mean it's necessarily going to have 7 solutions. It just means the most it can have is 7 solutions. All right, because like you can have situations where you have this and there isn't a solution, right? And we've seen that. And then this one, the most solutions, this is a quadratic equation. The most solutions this could have possibly is 2 solutions. All right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at kind of what that looks like visually. So we've got these graphs here, right? These are all parabolas. You've got this one that's kind of going down. It looks like its vertex is, somewhere on the y-axis, and then some y coordinates, and x is 0. This one, your vertex is over here, part of it's on the x-axis, and then the x coordinate would be a negative number. And this one, your vertex is in the second quadrant, right? And you notice how it never crosses the x-axis. So when we talk about the roots are the solutions to these equations. And the way we locate the roots is they are the spots on the graph where this parabola intercepts the y-axis. So your roots for this one are right here and here, okay, because that's where it intersects the y-axis. Over here, your root would be this one point right here where and I believe it's where the vertex sits on it, and it says it's one unique real solution. We're going to learn later on that that's actually a double root, but you'll get to see how that is once we start algebraically solving these. And then this one presents kind of a weird situation where it never really crosses the y-axis. So because it doesn't cross the y-axis, until you learn more about something called complex numbers, we're going to say that this does not have a solution. Okay, this is no real solution, and the clue to that is the word real. And like I said, later on when you're in algebra 2, you'll talk about something called complex numbers, which are made up of a real and an imaginary part. And that's where you'll be able to figure out a solution for that. But it isn't a real number. It's not a regular number like what you're used to dealing with. Okay, so that's the big concept, is these roots are where the graph crosses the x-axis. Okay, and it's either going to be in no spots, one spot, or two spots. So we would say no real solutions, one, it's got one root or a double root, and then this one where it has two roots. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video here. Then the next video, we're going to start looking at our first case, which will be when we have two roots.